So far, we have looked at how to draw people standing using a bunch of circles to understand the kind of like proportions of a body and people. We have learned how to use more of just like posture lines to draw people sitting. Now we're just gonna kind of do a free flow exercise, and I want us to imagine that like we're gonna kind of combine both of them. So instead of using a reference photo, I want us to think about what is a stance that we might want a character to be in. So this is one where we get to use our imagination a little bit more, and we get to kind of have a little more fun with the creative elements. And it might turn out a little bit little more cattywampus, but you might find that you enjoy this a little bit more than using reference photos and trying to look at proportions. So what I tend to do is figure out what stance do I really want my characters to be in. And one of my go-to stances is waving. Okay, so I will draw extremely lightly. I'm going to draw a stick figure. Okay, but still identifying where those hips are and the shoulders. And we're gonna have one arm going up at almost a 45-degree angle. You can make it 45 if you do like. And then instead of then going straight up into the sky, we're gonna have it kind of just like curve a little more. Okay, so we can clearly see the bend from the shoulder down to the elbow, then the elbow up to the forearm. Okay, and then I like to just have this arm almost doing the opposite, but then kind of come a little more straight down. Okay, so this is going to be the basic stance of my character. So I'm going to take this and then do my circles. Okay, so this is not too bad of a shape for a head, and so I actually know that I want there to be a pretty solid line here. Okay, but I know that I want this character to have a little bit more of a rounded but pointed jaw. So we're going to come down here and just have a little bit of a point to it and then go back up. Okay, so this is a way to really get some style to your character. Instead of just having a bunch of round elements, we can really get the shape of a face. Okay, and then again, I go about 2/3 of the way up and then stop. And I know that here are my shoulders, and so I'm going to kind of do that, the circle method a little bit, but not as much as I did the first time. And then take the neck down to about the top of the shoulders. Okay, and then I'm going to start with the arm that's going down and just kind of guide along. Okay, these strokes are going to be a little heavier than the initial skeleton. And then here I'm going to have a pretty decent bend. Okay, and then usually you're going to want to like imagine that you're drawing a line from that that joint down to the very center. So imagine you've got this, right? So where your arm picks back up with the torso is going to be along this line. So we're not going to have it like stop right here, but we're going to have it come up a little bit. I'm going to have it cut right there, which means I'm also going to have it cut right around there for the other arm. Okay, so I'm going to cut this in. And because there's that bend in the elbow, I want to indicate that with having the line go a little further up. And then again, narrowing at the wrist, and then having kind of a blob ball hand. Okay, now this is a slightly different angle. So we've got that little bit of a pinch right here. So this is actually going to come, like the shoulder is going to come over, but then we're going to stop a little bit and then have a little pinch, a little bit of overlap there, just to indicate that there is that bend. Okay, and then here we're going to have that overlap again, showing the bend. Essentially, anytime that there's a bend in the body, we want to, and it's like an inward bend, we want it to be noticeable. Okay, so I had said that we're going to have the arm go to about the same point, except it's going to look a little different since this is stretched up, right? So if we're going to look at it like with fingers, so if we've got the finger bending down, okay, we've got like a little bit more of a pudge there. But if we're bending out, it's thinner. So here, instead of it kind of going and getting thicker and then meeting, we're gonna have it bend in a little bit and then be a little smoother transition. Okay, so I had it go in just a little bit too much. But over here, we kind of had it go out. So this gap here is quite a bit larger than the gap here. When your arm is up, we're not gonna have it be so dramatic. Okay, but we're gonna have it meet right around there. Right around that same level as this dot. But we are then going to have the torso kind of come out a little bit, right? So we've got that a little bit, maybe getting a little too far, but about the same level, okay? The torso is going to be right here, okay? So I'm going to finish up the hand on that side. Just to show we've kind of got that extension of the front body, okay? And then this is going to come down. I like to kind of have it come in a little bit at the waist. And then if you want like a jeans line or something, have it be just above the actual waist here. I'm going to draw a little belt. Okay. And then have the legs come out. And then meet into the knee and then come back up, out, and then in at the knee and then back out. All right, so this is a little bit of a bow-legged person, but if we wanted to like make it even more pronounced, we could have the cut down a little bit and then have it be more of a straight leg. Okay, and again, this is where like drawing lightly until you kind of get the hang of it, or like me, decide to change things, comes in handy. And then we can draw the pant leg and go through and erase all of the lines that we don't need. Okay. And then looking at how this is, these pants are a little short, so I'm just going to have them be capris. You just draw the legs extending down below. Okay. And then we're going to have that be like a t-shirt. And then if you'd like and you want it to be a looser fitting t-shirt, you can definitely make adjustments as you go. So again, these are not always going to be amazing and you're not always going to love the first draft of it. This turned out a little bit different than I had anticipated, and that's okay. And then we're going to just have, let's have this be maybe someone with a little bit bigger hair than what we've drawn. You can always over-exaggerate features as well. Okay. And we're going to have a little bit of a side sweep. And if you want to draw a little bit more definition in that part, you can just draw some V's, maybe a couple of lines to show some movement. Okay, and there we go. We have a little bit, different kind of style, a little smoother, fewer scribbles to erase, but a slightly different kind of outcome as well. So there's a couple different ways to draw people.